Next up, I'd like to introduce Chris Capell. Chris is on our DevOps team and is an Army veteran, dog dad, cancer survivor, and self-proclaimed Jedi Master of DevOps. Chris has spent his career looking for ways to simplify designs, automate processes, and show how we can use technology to improve business processes. He lives with his dog Gizmo in the Cleveland suburbs. You can't drop that in your bio and not have a dog photo in the presentation, man. My hopes are high. All right, Chris, the floor is yours. Now you're ready. Come on stage and take it away.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about GitHub Actions. So what are GitHub Actions? GitHub Actions are a continuous integration and continuous delivery platform that allow you to automate your build and test and deployment pipelines. They can be triggered by an event such as a file changing, a push to your repository, or manually. One thing to note, if you're triggering it manually, the workflow must already exist in the default branch and the branch tag in which you want it to run. It'll always run the workflow in the branch that it's at, but it needs to be in the master branch just to be able to trigger manually. You could run them on GitHub infrastructure or a self-hosted runner. You'd want to run on a self-hosted runner if your tests need to access internal resources such as a database, or you're deploying Helm or Terraform in a cloud provider. You'd already want to be inside that provider so you can access private IPs. They exist in your repository at GitHub /workflows, and they're YAML files. Some of the usages for them would be to build the project, perform tests, and publish artifacts. You can use them to run deployments. You could use them to run other tools such as BitOps, Helm, and Ansible. And you can even trigger other pipelines. So if you have a database deployment, you can have that trigger the front end, which can then trigger the back end. Each workflow is made up of one or more jobs. Each job is a set of steps that would run on the same runner. So, when you create a job, you don't want to be going through and having every step run on a different server. So that's why you group the jobs together. By default, jobs have no dependencies and you run in parallel. That's important to note. So you want to make sure that if you have a dependency, you want your build to complete before your tests. You want to make sure they're dependent upon one another. And each job will define where it will run, either a GitHub hosted runner or a self-hosted runner. So if you have multiple jobs, you can run a build on the GitHub runner and then run a deploy on a self-hosted runner. You just need to make sure that your runner, or that you've gone through and checked in your artifacts after you've completed the job. So, did I miss one? Okay. So each job has a set of steps, and each job has steps, and a step is a set of tasks, or is a task. The task could be a command or an action. A command would be just a bash shell command, or if you're running on a Windows runner, a Windows command. An action, actions can be found in the marketplace. Some examples of actions would be to check out a GitHub repository, set up the runner with a specific version of Node, run automated tasks, upload a container to Docker, or log into Docker. And like we said before, commands are just bash commands. So this is a simple example of a workflow. You have the name. The on command will tell you where the workflow is, how the workflow gets started. Workflow dispatch will allow it to be triggered manually or through another script. or I can go through and I have this one triggering on pushes to the main branch. And I also have a path filter, so only pushes to the main branch on that path would trigger this workflow. That's the way to go through and make sure that if I want this workflow to run only when these files are changed, to have that happen. You can also have exclude paths so that I don't run the workflow every time a certain set of files would change. Environment, those are just variables that we have set up. You can have them anywhere you need. It makes it easy to go through and make these workflows more cookie cutter. You define your environmental variables at the top, and then you can reuse them throughout the workflow. So here we have a job. The job name is build, and it's going to run on self-hosted. And the job, we have the steps in there. So first step is going to be a action, and it's going to be the checkout. I know that's one common one. You're going to see that just checks out your repository. We're going to then set up Node.js with a node matrix, and the next slide demo will show you what the node matrix version is. Then we go through and we have several run commands. We're running the integration, run the npm migrate, we run lint tests, and then we run some more tests. So if we go in here, and this is a workflow that I have set up for a demo. I have it set up to build for this branch. I have it running on Ubuntu, which would be on the GitHub runner. We have an environmental database connection, and we have some services that we have set up here, which would be just setting up a Postgres Docker image so that we can do some testing later on. The node matrix here would go through, and then the steps below will actually run for every node version we have listed. We only have one node version listed, so that's going to only run once. Then we have a publish. I have a statement in here to make sure the publish doesn't run because I don't want it to run. During the demo, it needs the build to finish or to complete. And again, I have some actions in here. We're doing the checkout. We set up a bunch of environmental variables, and then we're going to run a script. And those environmental variables will be used in that script. And we have the deploy step, which again, I have set not to run. So I go through here, I'm going to make a quick change. I'll get rid of this. Demo, commit the change. My commits may already been made. So now I can go back over here, and hopefully here in any second, we see that my demo got picked up. It's actually already sitting there and it's queued. And hopefully here in a second, it should start running. So it's already running. It's initializing and pulling that container that we had specified. And you can see in here that each of these steps correspond to a step in here. So we're going to do the action checkout. We're doing the run and all the different runs. So we've already run my test. We've done the migration. We're running the test. And that should do it. And we've turned green. We didn't do these last two steps, so they're just kind of in gray status. But we can see here, all my steps ran. Everything was successful. And if I want to go through, I can look at the logs for that specific step. So if you want more information, you can go to GitHub docs.github.com/en/actions. That's where they have all their documentation on the actions listed. And then you can also go to the marketplace for the pre-built actions you can use in your steps. This is where you can find information about how to do the Git checkout, check-ins, any Docker commands. There's hundreds or thousands of pre-built actions in there. Anybody can create and build an action. I've actually have a few in there. So your mileage may vary depending on who's uploaded it. So use a little bit of caution when you're picking those things. Hacker 37 might not be the best guy to get an action from. So I'll now open it up to any questions anybody might have.